Hello, this is a short video tutorial for how to create a discussion forum in your Moodle course. We have another video that discusses some of the reasons why you might want to use discussion forums and some of the pedagogy and pedagogical applications of having students participate in online discussion forums. But this video is focused primarily on giving you the instructions to set up a basic discussion forum on your Moodle page. So the first thing you'll do once you get into the course is go to this blue gear in the top corner and turn editing on. Once you see all the edit buttons, what you're going to do is go to add an activity or resource. Each section, this course happens to be separated into weekly sections, but each section of the course divided by these gray lines should have add an activity or resource option. So if I click the plus sign under the week 1 section, I can add lots of different kinds of activities. In this case, I'm going to add a forum, which is about 3/4 of the way, 2/3 of the way down the list. So you click that radio button and say add. Note that there are all kinds of instructions and information descriptions that also pop up when you're in that previous window, so you can learn a little bit more about different kinds of forums. But this is the basic interface. Once you're adding a new forum, you're going to want to give your forum a name. Let's do this. Say this is a forum where I want my students to introduce themselves to each other. If you're doing this partway through a course to try to take your course offline during the middle of a semester, it might be where you're asking them to share their thoughts about a reading, for example. But in this case, we're going to make this into an introductions forum. You're going to include the instructions here where it says description. It says description. Instructions is really what you want to put here for students because there isn't another place really to put those instructions. Okay, so this is a basic set of instructions. Introduce yourself and some more specific description of the task. Include at least 3 specific things that make you unique. Reply to at least 3 other posts. The other thing you would want to include, which I didn't on the first go, is sorry, can't type here. It's very helpful for students to know, especially in online teaching, what the parts are to a task and when each of those parts are due if they're not due at the same time. So include all the information. Really good instructions is very helpful here, especially if you're going to give it a grade. So that's the first section, the general section, the forum name and a description. Generally, leaving these defaults the way they are work perfectly fine for most people. And I would say unless you specifically know that you want it to be a different type of forum, just leave it as it is. If you want the word count to be displayed, if that's a part of maybe the grade or part of your criteria, then you would just change this to yes. You can ignore most of these other things. One thing that you might pay attention to is ratings. If you want to be able to grade it, then you have to turn it on to some sort of ratings. I recommend average of ratings. That's the simplest one. So you can skip grade unless you know more about the grading expectations that you have for it. We can always come back and make that change later if you need to. But if you want to be able to give it a grade, you just say average of ratings, say how many points each post is worth. I say something like 5 or 10 so that it's easier with the drop down. And then you can save and display or save and return to course. If we say save and display, we'll see what would look like if you turned it on. So here we have the name of the forum, the instructions for the forum, and an add a new discussion button where your student could add a new discussion. Went too many spaces here. Okay, the student can make their post, and then they can post a form. I'm going to go with no editing delay because I want us to see it right now. Your students won't have a choice, so it's good to note that your students will have a 30-minute time delay. Posted the form, and here you see it. As your students make their posts, their title of the post will show up here, who posted it, and anytime there are replies, or if it's read or unread. So that's basically it. If I go back to the main page of my course, I can see that here is my form. If I want to change anything about that form, I just go to the Edit button, Edit Settings. Here we have that same interface again. If I wanted to put it in a grade category, we haven't talked about grade categories or gradebook yet, so that's not an issue for us. If I want to change the instructions, I can do that. Otherwise, it's good to go. One other feature, if you think you want to add forms to each week, it's very simple to duplicate that form. Once you have it built and you have all the settings the way you like, you can click the Edit button, duplicate, and now I have another form that's identical to the first one. I can move it around. If I edit this form, I can change the title, and I can change the instructions if I need to. Sorry about that. Okay. Basic instructions, everything else can stay the same. Save and return to the course. And this way your students can talk to each other. They can show you their thinking, so it's very similar to a class discussion that you might have in class, except it happens online. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to email us at edtech@pacificu.edu. We look forward to hearing from you.